Welcome y'all to the Blackhoof Saloon, a Wild West Exodus podcast. Mosey on up to the bar and get yourself a bottle of firewater or a glass of sarsaparilla and listen to some good old yarns about adventures of law dogs, outlaws, and weird creatures. So set a spell, water your ride or your rider, and get ready to tune up your posses. This is the Blackhoof Saloon.
All right. We are live. This is Eric here with the Blackhoof Saloon, and we are here, and I have all my co-hosts muted right now, and they need to unmute so they can introduce themselves. But we are here doing something new.
Howdy.
And we are trying some Facebook Live stuff, so hopefully you guys are tuning in. If you want, you can go ahead and participate in the chat. That'll be cool. We can actually answer questions live. But I am here with Brian and Tom.
Hey.
Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
I found this guy's hand.
I think.
Hired hand sprues.
Can you guys hear me, right? Let's do a quick mic check.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear Tom.
You can't hear me? But it's not.
I can hear you, Tom.
You can hear me?
Oh, boy. We're already having technical difficulties.
Well, that's not my fault then.
Maybe it was me, guys.
Brian can hear me.
But we're here live on Facebook. I think their audio's working. See, I messed with stuff, and
can you hear me now?
For some reason, I can't hear you guys.
All right, I'm gonna write a message to Eric then, and just let him know that he's the only one out of the loop here.
Yeah, he's got to unmute us.
You see, that's where it all went wrong. He muted us.
Bear with us, guys. So it's me that I can't hear you guys. Let me see what I did wrong. I see what I did. All right, guys.
Can you hear us now?
No, that didn't fix it still.
Can you hear me?
Damn it, there's always something.
It was working fine a second ago.
Brian, you know what, Eric? You had to go and mute us.
I had to mess with stuff.
You had to go to mute us, and now it's all broken. Damn it, I need tweezers. I don't have tweezers.
Oh, you're going to try to clean up the brow?
My brow is awesome. What are you talking about? I can't get this little friggin' ass arm into place.
What's going on, guys?
Can you hear us?
I can't hear you guys at all.
All right, I muted and unmuted. Did that help?
Now I can hear you guys on my headphones. I don't know for sure what was going on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now too.
You broke it, man. You muted us, and then
I broke the computer. See, it's us trying new stuff. That's what I get for trying new stuff, right?
It's not us trying new stuff.
I'm using both my tablet camera and my phone camera. I can't monitor the Facebook chat, so.
I got that. I got that.
But I can hear you guys. All right. So a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm here with Brian and Tom, my co-host of Blackhoof Saloon, and we are trying some new stuff. We're doing a live stream on Facebook, and if you guys miss this live or if you don't have time to watch it, don't worry. What I plan on doing is taking the audio from this and converting it to our normal audio podcast that we have and put it in the podcast streams wherever you guys like to listen to it, whether it's Podbean, Google, and hey, news. I think I got it figured out that we're going to be on Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah,
Nice.
Spotify. So you guys use that for your podcast platform. We should be on that one soon, if not now. I think I was messing with it last night. So, but let me go ahead. I'm going to open up Facebook since we do have chat. So we can
Just
keep
have to
an
do that
eye
too.
on it. Let me find it. There we go. So it looks like we have a couple people watching. So welcome, you guys out there that are watching.
Oh, look, Andrew even told us what was wrong. See, if you'd just been watching, if you'd just been looking at the chat, he
Yeah.
gave you the answers.
Well, see, it's weird. So Zoom's got settings. Like when we started, I didn't have my headphones on. I could hear you guys fine. I think when I was doing my little intro music thing is where things got goofy. So I could play the intro music. It's hard to test for these things for live shows when, if you try to test offline, it's not the same as going live. So it's hard to test.
Yep.
But thank you guys for kind of tuning in and trying to help us out and our caveman fumbling.
I'd like to blame Eric, but I think he's the most tech savvy of us.
And yeah, I do have the chat open. So if you guys have any questions or comments, we'll try to keep an eye on that and answer it. But what we are doing today is we want to get on here and start talking about, it's a new project that three of us we've been talking about it for a while. And during our break, we were kind of talking about the last time we first, we first attempted doing a little live hobby type project thing where you guys can watch us working on stuff. It was actually Brian showing Tom some tips on painting. And I think from that, what generated is an idea of, hey, we can do something like this again. And this was before like Zoom kind of took off and became available for people that are stuck at home and we can't get to the game stores to have that community interaction where you can sit down together and paint and stuff. And Zoom is perfect for that. The three of us are spread out through the US, and being able to do that kind of, hanging out with your buddies and working on projects got us thinking, hey, we can do that now with Zoom. It makes it so much easier. And at the same time, we can put it out to you guys to watch and participate and kind of go along with us on this project. And basically what this project is we talked about, hey, let's kind of start a posse build project where the three of us are gonna pick the faction of choice that we want to, work through building actually posse, either using the old pen and paper or the posse builder that we now have, which I was fiddling with the other day. Makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, it does.
You can click on the stat card, see how much something is, and easily drop in and drop out different models, and give you the points cost and stuff. And then from there, we actually wanted to get the models we planned on building this posse and put it together. We were gonna do a stream and a video where we're building them and then eventually painting them, and we can help each other out with questions. And some of us are already working on stuff. Brian's actually working on his that's for the Halloween contest, right, Brian?
I wasn't going to actually say what it was for in case I didn't
Okay.
want to tip the hat, but I guess it's too
Well,
late.
I just kind of tipped your hat for you. I'm sorry.
Right. So this is, I'm working on a Hexoene entry. So one of the things we were discussing about this posse challenge was the challenge for me is we wanted to start from scratch, like unbuilt models, so we can tape the process of, building, and so share that with y'all while we're working and discussing what we're going to do. And I'm like over here going, I don't have any unbuilt models. So they were like,
Yeah, so someone's got 600 models sitting on his bench, all built and getting ready to be painted already. God damn it! Be like the rest of us and build one at a time.
right. So Wakasansi was built, based, sitting on the shelf with the rest of my hex models. So I just started her because the new paint contest was like, okay, she's built, I can start putting paint on her.
Yeah. And I know you got some other creepy ones that you could
She is
do
not
too.
going to be part of the posse challenge. I will pick something different for that.
Okay. So something I wanted to do with this video for everybody was kind of just talk about what the plan was. I kind of gave a rough summary of what we were planning on doing.
Well, I mean, we can talk about what it grew out of. Like, what this really came out of is when we were talking about doing some sort of hobby, something. When it was Brian teaching me, the downside of that is Eric is just watching and recording. And
yeah, and that
seems
was we
that
were
seems sucky.
using Skype at that time, and it was pretty limited.
Yep. And let's face it, that's not all that much fun to just sit and watch while other people are doing stuff.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that what we the viewers to do?
they can paint along too if they want. I mean, everybody's welcome here. We're not going to record them, but they can paint too and tell us that they're painting. So during our hiatus, which was an odd hiatus because it was not planned, we all stayed in contact throughout the entire thing and just never got to like, hey, you want to record? So I was just giving this a lot of thought, and as we go along, we try to get people engaged, and hopefully there's people that are sitting at home bored that are stumbling upon the game. I've seen a number of posts about that. I said, well, what if we did something beginning to end so that we can capture new players too, not just the old hands? A lot of people have been involved in this hobby for a long time. They already know how to do all this stuff, and how you don't know how helpful that is, not helpful. But beginners don't know what they're doing, or maybe are struggling and looking for either inspiration or help, or time. In my case, this is forcing me to actually make time to do these things. We've decided we are gonna have a regular recording slot once a week that we're gonna work in. So I have to reserve that time now and have it planned ahead and have my stuff ready to go. So yes, this is very selfish. This is about me. It's all about me and getting a posse on the table for me.
Well, it's like what I mentioned. A lot of times, back with other games, that's what you do with your buddies is, instead of, if you couldn't play a game, say, you would get together and just list build or, work on painting. A lot of the stores sometimes do those little paint sessions where everybody comes in, brings their models, and you all just sit there and community build and paint, which is a nice interaction with your community that you can bounce ideas like paint schemes or paint techniques off of each other. And it's really helpful. And that's kind of what we thought the three of us helping each other, and then the community can tune in and kind of maybe get ideas themselves and see the whole process that we're going through and then apply it to, their builds.
And hopefully, some people be inspired. And, if we can say, hey, we're going to be doing this every Sunday night or whatever, have your stuff ready to go. Paint along with us, comment along, ask questions.
Yeah.
If you have them. post pictures up, post things on Blackhoof Saloon of the pictures you work,
Yeah.
whatever you're working on. Um, it's just something to get everyone sort of back into the mode of doing this again. And really starting from the very beginning, very basics, from how are you assembling plastic versus resin? What are the difficulties there? What are the differences there? I've been on an adventure to find plastic glue. It's been sold out everywhere around me. I ordered it from Amazon. It said it was going to take 3 days, and then once I ordered it, it said, "Great, your glue will be there in the middle of November."
Yeah, who's buying all the plastic glue out there?
I don't know. I happen to be at my in-laws this weekend, so I found a Michael's by them. I ran in there, and I was able to find they had 2 tubes of glue left. So I got 1 thing of plastic glue. So
wow. Well, that stuff goes a long way, so you should be okay.
It does. It should last a while. But I don't know where mine went. It just disappeared. So I've been on the hunt for another one.
Kids. I know where kids.
Yeah, so do I. So we just want to get into everything from, how do you do your basic basing? How do you start picking out details? How do you bring your models up a level? Maybe you're like me and you already do, the basic, base, wash, dry brush, and that games was the original Games Workshop standard that a lot of us learned on. But it gives you something perfectly playable. But maybe you want to go up a level from there and start learning techniques past there. So we want to go from beginning to end. We can go, hey, you could stop here. This still looks good. Or you can keep going, and that's where Brian and Eric will start being like, all right, Tom, you have to actually like put some color on that, not just dip it, and that's kind of where we want to go with this, and just make it a fun little challenge. It's not about how good or bad or anything like that anybody is. It's just about doing it and getting paint on stuff and learning.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal is, how many models or posses do people have that they've started but get the shiny syndrome and get distracted or just don't get it done. So it's kind of a way to motivate not only ourselves but other people to do something from the start, and then by the end have something that's playable. Now, many times it's like, yeah, you don't have to have them totally painted to play the game, but you take a pride in having something that's nicely painted and see it on the table. And it doesn't have to be, this super detailed, competition paint. You kind of, I think everybody should feel like they can paint at whatever their level is. But we all are also hoping that from us doing this, maybe you'll pick up some tips, or maybe you'll see how, like Brian does his layering and his glazing, and pick up a tip or two. So that's kind of I think the goal. And that kind of basically sums up what our little posse project is that the 3 of us are going to do. Shall we? I mean, it's kind of common knowledge if they're longtime listeners. They know what we gravitate towards. Do you guys want to just kind of reveal what we, in the little bit short time that we have, what our plan is personally, what we're planning on faction-wise doing, and then because what we're going to do is in maybe future live streams of this, we're going to make it into like episodes that I can post on the audio. And each one of us is, going to take a little turn and go more in depth of what that is. But shall we reveal what faction that we're going to kind of dive into a little bit?
Sure. I mean, and to expand on what Eric was saying, we are talking about doing smaller episodes more often. and this is gonna be our foray into that to see how that goes. Instead of having the long 2.5-3 hour
Our
once a
marathon
month,
episodes.
yeah, once a month one that we're doing. We're thinking about just trying to hit it once a week, whatever we're up to. And maybe it'll be a half hour, maybe it'll be an hour, who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. For this initial go at it, we're going to talk about the posses, and we're going to actually build out posses. We've agreed that we're going to do full 1,200 point posses. We're going to try to design viable, playable posses. Not just because at first I was like, oh, I'm just going to do this box set and that's it. And then as we were talking, it's like, well, that's not the greatest thing. You don't probably want to put that on the table.
You want to do a little more of the list building with it, that you feel like, hey, this will be fun to play out on the board.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 mini episodes, one on each of the posses that we're each building. We'll start out with our initial thoughts on them, then we'll bounce off each other. And as we've done in a couple of previous episodes, for posse building, actually work together to come up with a posse and build it out. And we'll deal with real restrictions like we would have on it, such as, hey, I don't have that model. It's great if Brian or Eric says to me, oh, you know what you need here? You need this guy. And I don't have it. So that's out. So, that's kind of real life restrictions that get put on people as the posse building. So we'll be doing that. Brian, you got anything to add? Sitting there quietly working away.
Right. So that's the main gist. We wanted it. Tom was like, hey, I'm going to start this posse. Anyone want to do it with me? And we can, work on them together and stuff. And so we were like, okay, well, it just evolved into all of us saying, okay, cool. Well, what are we going to do? And of course, I'm like, well, I've got 5 different posse boxes already in some form of work in progress that I just never finished. So it's like most of the posses have already started here somewhere in the Powell house. So I was like, well, not much left. So I'm like, okay, well, what factions haven't I dived into? I've got plenty of models for all the factions, but I was like, okay, which factions haven't I delved into? So I picked one of the factions that I haven't really painted much to. I do have a few models that I did, mainly just because I wanted to play around with that genre a little bit because of glow effects. And so I did a couple of models in it, but I still have some that I haven't started. And then I haven't bought any of their new posses. So I did order.
You can tell us.
You did like 3 orders this weekend, didn't you?
Well, I was about to do 3. I ended up doing 1 last week, and the delivery for it is like delayed. The guy was on vacation, so it was like, it's not coming until the end of the month. And I was like, oh darn, save a little money on a discount, and it's like, oh, it's not going to be ready until like the end of October. I was like, great. Then I waited till the weekend. I was like, oh, I'm going to order something else, and found a really good deal on one of the options to go into the posse build that I'm going to be doing. And I was like, wow, that's a really good price. I better jump at it. And it was free shipping, so you can't really skip on that either. Shipping. So I was like, wow, that's only that's like a $5 savings, really. And so I was like, okay, insta buy. And then I was like, I need to buy one other thing, and I'll wait and I'll buy that. I'll order that next week. But so yeah, sometime. And then the guy comes back from his vacation, and he like immediately dumped it in the mail. So it's actually going to be quicker. It'll be here Wednesday. So.
All right. You want to start us off, Brian? What are you going to be doing?
So what's the faction that you're going to look at? We don't have to go in super detail because those other episodes, we'll go into that.
Wednesday, Alcon and his daughters will land at the Powell desk. Yeah. So my posse build will basically center around the flying, options in the Warrior Nation. So was tinkering around with the Posse Builder this afternoon, just kind of like see what that entails. His Death from Above posse is very specific, and without a whole lot of Fire Eagles or Thunder Chickens, it's really hard to get to 6 slots in that build. So right now, I won't be going 6 slots unless I can, find more chickens. The the second posse I'll bring in will be led by Cloud Dancer, and she actually goes deep enough into just a regular Warrior Nature theme. So right now I'm looking at bringing a couple of hands in slot 1, bringing a face in slot 2, and then bringing at least 2 Sky Stallions. Because I have Sky Stallions unpainted, so that I'll be able to, get those as per inside this thing. So that's the goal.
Plus, Sky Stallions just look really cool.
And they sky leap, so it's the theme is the leaping and jumping kind of.
He's going to be annoying people jumping around probably.
Although I did tinker with the idea of, instead of going into a big posse with Cloud Dancer, bringing in another boss, Bass Reeves, and then bringing Jedrick in the first slot.
You knew that was coming, Tom.
Come on. Leave Jed home one day.
Yeah, I know, right? So I thought it was funny, but no, I went with. I think I'm going to go with, Cloud Dancer bringing, enough to get the Sky Stallions. Otherwise, another build I could have done is gone with Alcon in a non-theme, and then I can bring, there's a little more flexibility to bringing in Sky Stallions under his posse. But
Right.
Okay, so you're gonna do Warrior Nation with a double posse build. Not sure on if you're gonna do the both posses as Warrior Nation. You may bring in Bass maybe and bring in some lawmen, and
I did that as a tinker with the idea, but because bringing in lawmen, I have most of those done. So
yeah,
Bass Reeves is in progress. He's not finished.
That's something we can you can tinker with a little bit, and then when we get into a little more in depth of starting to build the posse that you want to work through the project, we can really dissect it and go over what the benefits of, say, bringing this faces are, or this group, because maybe they they synergize with each other. Like many times we talked about card play. So
right, and really it's the building rules and restrictions based on a faction posse versus a theme posse.
Yeah,
and when your bosses are Alcon or even Cloud Dancer, she'll be. I mean, right now the only option is a theme. It's a non-theme, so just a regular faction. So when you're in those type of limitations, the pacing of the Warrior Nation faction posse is off the bat. Slot 1 is hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't intending of doing a hands heavy list with these flyers, right? But that build forces you to take, hands, and so as you build if you go that route, you're forcing yourselves to pick more hands than you probably wanted to bring. I do have, some Warrior Nation hands on sprues, so I actually have both kinds.
Both kinds, country and western.
All right, Dolly.
He's like what?
Both kinds of the hands. So I have the Plains Warrior sprue, and then I also have the Stalker sprue. So
I think you just came up with a new classification for hands: country,
And Western.
Western.
That's it.
Perfect name.
Oh my God. All right, Tom. So what faction were you thinking of getting
All right,
into? Because I
so-
mean, everybody knows you as a Union player, but as we revealed in our last
Lawman.
episode, you got rid of all your Unions.
I
What are
got
you
all my
doing now?
Union, I realized just it's so like there's so many hired hands in there. It's such a hands heavy faction.
Mhm.
At least the way I like to play them. You know, I like the big army feel to them, and I'm like, I am never ever going to get to these. So got rid of them, and then took that money and reinvested it, and picked up a whole bunch of order. So I've got both of the box set order posses that are available. So I have Portal Vanguard, I have Divine Intervention. I've got a box of Spica. I've got a box of Nick's cohort. I would get an Illuminant cohort, but I can't find them anywhere. They seem to be sold out everywhere. Um, if anybody can give me a lead on those, I'd love to get them. So pipe up if you know them. Everyone's got Nick's in stock. Nobody's got Luminance. I've got extra portals. I've got basically I have everything except for Pillar of Light and Spheres of Light, because they're out of print for the most part or really expensive. Yeah. So those are the only things I don't have. But overall, order's small. It's a small elite posse or group of posses.
You played them before too, right, Tom?
I never played them.
Oh, okay. I thought you did maybe in first edition and
Nope,
stuff.
I've never played them.
Okay.
So the only one I ever had was Helios back when she was Lady of the West.
Okay.
Just 'cause I really liked her model. But other than that, no, I never played them. So we'll play around. I've been playing around in Posse Builder, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I keep coming up like 5, 10, 15 points over the 1200. I'm like,
see, my problem is I always come up short, and then it's like, okay, what more can I squeeze in here without going over? But that's the fun of list building. Some people love that number crunching, and swapping out your options. I did, as a note, I think somebody brought up in the chat that the Posse Builder was down, but I just did a test on the link and it opens up. So I do believe maybe it was down for a maintenance or something, just, typical internet stuff.
Yeah, I just went into it's working well.
So yeah, it looks like it's fine at it's possebuilder.com website. And if you guys dig around on the Dark Council, there should be a link somewhere in there. There's enough people in the community that they're using it and people are loving it. But anyway, so order, do you got any ideas with all that, or is that something you want to cover when we kind of focus in?
That's something we'll cover, but I mean, I'm definitely going to start out with my building with Portal Vanguard. I want to play with Portal Shenanigans.
Yeah, it's always a good place to start, is like those box sets, and then expand out on it.
Right.
And
I don't know how deep I'm going to go into it. So I don't love some of the options that you have to take in there, or, it's iffy. But I mean, I think I'm going to start out with a Nura. I don't know whether it's going to be regular or legendary. Haven't decided yet.
Okay.
And then a Salto. So I've got the 2 Portal Masters. After that, who knows? We'll play around. And
when we get into a discussion on our future episode where we're going to be focusing on your build, and we're all, the 3 of us basically are going to put our heads together and see what your options are and do something. Any ideas maybe for a second boss? You mentioned you want to go straight up, but
I don't know. But Mac just told me that he's got a Spear of Light and 2 tumblers if I want them.
Of course he does, because I know how he is. He buys everything.
So I may be jumping all over that. That may change what I'm going to do. So we'll see. As a second boss, I mean, what are my choices as a second boss? It's got to be Makara, right?
She's kind of scary.
Well, your options are Makara And then there's a couple of the faces that have underboss that you can
Yeah.
boss up if you
Yeah,
want.
that's true.
Yeah, I find them underwhelming as bosses, generally speaking.
They are. It just gives you options on if you had some little tweak you wanted to do where you can, I guess, squeeze out a couple of more points of fortune and separate your units into smaller posses. Uh,
Wow. He's getting so serious, Tom. He's saying PM me your address.
I
That
know.
means he's got a box with postage on it. Are all set for.
So, thanks, Mac. You're the best.
you got
I
any?
miss,
You got
I
any
miss that.
thunder chickens?
I missed that. I missed that Adepticon got canceled, so wasn't able to see you again this year. I know I missed the previous one too. How many did I miss in a row? Jeez.
I'm trying to think.
It's been a couple of years.
Same as me.
See,
Yeah.
2000.
I think I might have missed two now.
19 was the last one we had, and I think 19, 18. You guys were there. Is that when we had the first tournament,
I
or
hope
actually
so.
last tournament of first edition, right?
Right, but it was the first tournament of War Cradle.
Yeah. So I
So
think that was.
that would have been
Then they
it.
had one after, didn't they?
Okay, so that's what I missed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so the faction with it's probably no surprise as to what I am doing, but I am going to do something with Enlightened. Now, yeah, I know. And it's funny enough because locally, probably since the last tournament that War Cradle had at Adepticon, I've been playing a lot of Outlaws. And I like the Outlaws because of their flexibility for building. If something doesn't work, there's like 10 other options that you can put in there and let's try this. But Enlightened was my first love, so I'm going to do something with that. And I'm going to do something different because I have so much that's either half built or not built started that I'm kind of going to use what I have. It's going to depend on the build process, going through the Posse Builder and list building something, and then looking to see, okay, do I have this? Do I need this? And then I'm going to get stuff after the fact. But ever since on our smoke wagon that we talked about Eiffel and Tesla, I've used Eiffel before, but I think I've totally built him wrong. Kind of just threw stuff in there, not really thinking about what I'm doing. So I want to start over with him and literally just start with him. And I already have some ideas of what I want to do with him because his posse is very specific. I'm trying to decide. I want to split it. I want to do a double, kind of like Brian, but I don't know who. I don't know if I want to do a second Enlightened boss. I don't know for sure if I want to split it with another faction, like the Outlaws, so that I can bring some of that outlaw power, like, I don't know, Nakano.
No.
To fight along with the Enlightened,
Don't sully Nakano like that.
Why?
Yeah.
Gee,
You just know that he's going to squeeze in Joey.
Yeah, you can't sully Nakano by putting her in an enlightened force. God, just can't do that. She's too good for you. She's too good for you.
I'm undecided on what I want to do along the second half. I may actually, like my first playing around on the Posse Builder with Eiffel, I got up in points so fast with his theme posse that I'm like, I don't know if I could afford a second boss in their own posse.
So your plan is to start as the basis of your posse, the loser of the smoke of the smoke wagon showdown.
He just goes right for the throat.
I don't know. It just feels like you're starting from a losing position there.
Man.
Well, none of us are playing the opponent.
What was that?
Neither one of us are picking the opponent that won that showdown.
No, we know. Yeah, I know that, but still, loser.
Yeah, I love you too. So those are kind of my ideas, and like I said, I just started touching in with playing around with it. It's the few times I've used Eiffel, I've had a lot of fun with him skittering across the board. And at that time, I think I only had one, I think I had 5 widow, the little spider guys to go along with them. Since then, I've picked up 2 other units, so I think I have about 15 total of little spider guys. I kind of feel like I want more. Because you think of spiders, you think of just in the horror movies, that horde of spiders.
I'm picturing Harry Potter trying to get out of the forest as the spiders are trying to get him.
Yeah, with the little mandibles coming to get you.
Oh man, stupid, gross, enlightened.
So those are kind of my ideas. I mean, like I said, being that I played with Outlaws so much too in the last year, more than that, really. I'm kind of partial to them because there's a lot of Outlaws that are enlightened as well. They have a lot of dealings with the enlightened. They get some upgrades from the enlightened. So I don't know. I'm kind of another character I've kind of looked at, and I used him in first edition was Cam. So kind of looking at Cam, and he could go in either way.
I think you should
you
totally
could always
go
do a spider flyer team up.
So I was thinking, when I'm thinking about this stuff, I'm thinking about tactics. I got speed, and then if I bring Cam, then I have some flight options that are
You
just
need to get a hold of some Hellions.
No, I got 2 of the old ones.
I've got one.
And
I can ship to you. Give you at least one unit.
I can probably put my hands on about 5 to 10 of them for you if I really
What?
5 to 10.
How?
I know people.
Listen, I know people.
I grew up in Brooklyn, man. I know people.
Wow.
What's the old phrase
Y'all missed that, but he
Bing bang and
even rubbed the side of his nose.
Man.
No. So my friend Matt that won the tournament.
I knew he was big in Atlanta. I just didn't know how many Hellions
he had quite a force of Hellions, and I know he had at least 5, and I want to say he had more than that.
Wow.
So he's not really playing anymore. He might be willing to part with those. I'd have to give him a shout and see where he's at with them, but I might be able to put my hands on him for you.
Okay. So I just looked at the comments. Andrew asked me, 15, is that rookie numbers? No, that's just because I'm buying so many other things and not list building enough that, like I said, I think I want some more. But I may, just when I thought I had basically everything that there is for Enlighten, I think I'm only missing a couple units for them. I don't have the, actually, I think I have 1 or 2 now. The constructs on their bikes.
Right. Well, to be fair, Enlightened is a pretty expansive faction.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. It's pretty easy not to have everything for that faction.
Yeah, that's true. It's just a matter of when you're doing those builds, building out that unit to a particular number that's gonna be worthy, and that's not gonna just get wiped off the board because they are slow, they are easy to hit, and they're easy to take out. I mean, their point has always been mass numbers.
Yep. So do you still have to play them as fish for crits? I mean, is that really how they have to be played still?
I think so, pretty much, yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't use the basic troops from them. I mean, they're so cheap, but I really don't use them much.
Hey, Mac has some bikes for you too. Mac's got everything. What the hell?
Yeah, he's got everything. I've seen his tubs full of models for different game systems.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, it'll be something that I think we play with when we get into our episodes that we're going to do, where each one of us focuses on, let's build this list. We did it with you that one time.
Yeah, we built out the lawman list that
Lawman list, because you had the tournament coming up. And,
yep, I had that tournament back in March.
And that was a lot of fun to build. I mean, sometimes
it was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, it looked like it was. Some of the stuff you were telling us about what happened in the games. And I like that process of, instead of sitting down by yourself doing it, you get some other voices of, well, you could try this and try this. And then, it may be something that you don't think about.
Yep.
And I think that's, something like what we want to do is a benefit that anybody in the community, you guys could do that with your buddies, your play groups, or even getting on like what we're doing online and say, hey, I got an idea for this build. And you post it in on the Dark Council, and somebody's going to chime in and say, hey, try this in this slot.
Yep.
So
Heck, just look at the back and forth we had on Discord about using Legendary Jedi PAL versus using 2020 and Jedi separately.
Mm-hmm.
And God, that thing went on. There's a lot of disagreement on that, and I think the only thing you can do is put them on the board. And
a lot of times there's only so much theory crafting you can do, and I mean that's. Talk is talk, but you need, like you said, put it on the board, see how it plays. There's so many variables in the game, whether it's card mechanics or the dice mechanics, that could sway how a model plays.
There's things to think about too, numbers wise. It was funny. You had posted up our last episode, and I was listening through it. And Brian, you actually said something. I was like, wait, that's not right. You were talking about prodigious. You're like, oh, prodigious, you get 3 instead of 2, which is right. You're like, that's a 33% increase. I'm like, no, that's a 50% increase. That's a big jump.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I was like, that's an even bigger benefit than you would initially think about. Is when you start looking at how things work, a 50% bonus on anything is huge. So it's that kind of stuff that you can find for each other when you start having discussions about different things, where you can just say, hey, what about X and Y and Z? Have you ever thought about using this unit, that unit? There may be something that nobody thinks about, because at first glance that unit seems like trash, and then it ends up there's a little hidden gem of a use in there.
Yeah.
So
let's see. I'm going to take a look at our comments, see if we've missed any. So we have Mike Edwards is asking, weren't they fairly easy for the hex to control? So I believe he's referring to the constructs with their mind. Yeah, they are very easy to control if you have that, the hex players that do all their mind manipulation. So that is also something I have to think about. I do remember in games playing against Mike, he had some guys that were trying to do that to me, and I was rolling like a champ. I just kept rolling so good that he couldn't gain that control. But I think eventually it did happen. The dice gods, the probability, finally I didn't come up on top, and he turned one of my guys against myself, and it just turned over and smacked his buddy.
Nice.
So that is something I have to think about, looking at the minds. I don't run into it too much. It's so, I don't know. I'd like to try and build something that has a lot of tools in it. You know, it's hard to do that, but it's also sometimes you don't want to build something that does one thing good, because it could easily get off the rails, and then, you know,
Right, and really make sure you take into account the compel. It's one action,
mhm.
and and really it it can distract a really powerful X model to
Yeah,
waste those resources
yep.
on having one of your peons fail their
Eating up
mind
those
and do
actions, and you
something, and
know
it's
what?
like, oh great, yeah, you're gonna shoot me with my crap weapons,
Yeah.
but you could have hit me with
I
hexball.
am not against doing, I
It's
mean,
like,
that's actually a tactic I like using in many of my games, is that distraction, you know, putting something big, bad, scary over here, but it's like the magician, you know, look over here, but I'm gonna be doing this over here, you know.
It's what I found from the games I played in this. It's very easy to get distracted from your win condition. You
Yeah.
always have to keep in mind every time you do something, how is this benefiting my win condition? And it's very easy to fall prey to something just completely pulling you away from that.
Yeah, because this is a scenario game, and you know, you get stuck in that mindset of my force has got to cremate, destroy your force to win.
Yep.
Actually, you don't. I mean, there's many games when I am focused on those objectives and getting those points. You want the points, that my force will have two dudes left, you know, not much left. They half of my force sacrificed themselves, and they have a lot more, but I got ahead on the points.
Yep.
right,
So
you beat the +5 if they table you.
yeah.
And someone, I think it's Sam. He keeps mentioning, oh my God, you got to have so and so talk about what they do with their Helena, because he basically runs the
Oh,
point.
I think
He
it was
gets so many victory points.
yeah, I was talking about
It was Nate. Who's Nate?
Nate, I
Yeah,
guess, is a monster with them. Yes, yes, I did see some comments about that.
and it's right. I mean, it's his focus is beating you to victory points, right?
Mhm.
So that's one of the things you can focus on certain tactics that increase your chances for certain points, like especially with like Helena and some of the others that have the ability to look at the top 3 cards of either deck, right? I know when I'm using her, I tend to want to hedge my bets on action cards, but I'm pretty sure Nate's not doing that. He's on top of his adventure deck because he's looking to churn out for the better adventure cards so he can ensure multiple points for one
Yep.
thing, right? So because you can have multiple cards and they all count. So like say you have 3 uh shoot a hand unit, you know and you
Yep.
got 3 of those cards, that's 3 victory points for
Yep.
really one resolution in a game. And that's how he does it. That's what he does. He's searching for those good adventure cards for VPs instead of guts,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So he's
Right.
looking for victory points, and just to keep hammering that scenario and hammering those cards. And then, from what they were saying, you can't catch him. It's like,
Yeah, this is a game that if somebody gets out ahead of you, it's hard to catch up sometimes.
Well, yeah, and
And that's
that's
just the
something
nature of the cards.
that I'm really looking at as far as when we build out is when I look at order, they're not real sneaky. It seems like it just seems like they're like Hulk smash. I
Mhm.
mean, they seem very straightforward as far as they just want to beat the hell out of you. Um, and so I'm trying to look through all the different cards there and see, does anybody have anything kind of sneaky that that's more than portal up the board and kick your opponent's teeth in, because it seems like a lot of what they are is bring the core Corolli in and just have them pound on people.
Right, and some of that may be because the more um, trickstery stuff hasn't come out yet, right? Like
Right.
Abner doesn't have a posse yet, and
Right.
he's the more brainiac-esque boss. So you would
Right.
think that his support would maybe have some more of that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And then there's the Spica leader that we got teases of this past year, Dylan Callis or something like that. I think his name is. Uh, which I don't know. Maybe the delay in that posse coming out is trying to rename it.
They don't want it to be Bill and Ted. What?
No, because I think I've seen the name as like the Hunters of the Taint.
Oh, I know we've talked about this because
Oh my God, we have.
I can remember Tom.
Maybe why it's delayed, right? Is them just trying to come out? It's like, okay, we got to come up with is adding the tainted at the end gonna help? Is like the Hunters of the Tainted? So I don't know if that's maybe why it's delayed. Yeah, I could see the Cradle team
I
going.
see Tom's
Hey, I don't know if this is gonna work.
head right now. It's like I don't know what they do. I don't care how they do it. I want it based on the name.
But
Yeah,
I can just
pretty
imagine them
much.
going, "Wait, we can't release this in America," because those Americans have that kind of sense of humor that
We're all 4-year-olds.
right.
Hey, that didn't get put in our outtakes last week.
Oh man. Well, let's see. What
Sorry,
time
Stuart.
are we at? We are at about 56 minutes for this live stream. Like we've stated before, and we just released a new episode. We wanted to try and do some new stuff with the podcast. This is kind of us doing a video cast, a live stream that, we're very much about the community. I mean, this game is about community, and we figured out a way that we can interact with the community, with all you guys watching and commenting. And we love that we can instantly be talking about something and you guys can say, hey, I'm going to send you a bunch of models. And
that's my favorite part of it right there.
Yeah, that would be my favorite part too. But so, yeah, this is kind of one of our new things that we wanted to do this series of a build a posse project where this was just our intro. And we are doing it in video. So I'll probably put this on YouTube. I am going to convert it to audio. So if you guys just don't have the time to watch it or, you missed it live, well, you can either rewatch it on Facebook if you got time to sit and watch us, actually see us, or at our usual outlet, which is where we put the podcast, whether it be Podbean, Google Play, iTunes, and hopefully soon Spotify. We'll see if it works. Still trying to figure out some different places that we can get the podcast out for you guys to listen to. But I think, and we're going to do some other episodes where each one of us take a turn and focus on actually building the posse that we're thinking of, and the other two can voice some opinions and help out. Very similar to what we did for your law posse a couple months ago when you had that tournament, Tom. And then
that was like back in January or so, but yeah. January, February
before our little break. And then after we do those little get-togethers, we're gonna just get together and start working on the stuff and do some live hobby paint type things. And
if anybody has any things that they want us to just BS about while we're painting,
yeah, I mean,
topics.
Feel free to send us some ideas. If we do it live like we plan to, you guys can participate along with us, set up your little paint station and work on whatever project you're working on. A lot of its goal is to kind of just work through this whole process, show you guys, how the process goes, and maybe give you some ideas of building out some stuff. But I think that's going to be about it today for our little intro. We said we wanted to go about 30 minutes. Well, we're giving you guys about an hour because we like to BS a little bit. We it's been a while for us, right? We got to make up for lost time.
Yep. So before we get out of here, just want to throw a couple things out there. One, a lot of you know that in first edition, Custer was a single model. If anybody has one floating around somewhere they're not going to use, please let us know. We're trying to get our hands on one from Brian to kit bash to mount.
That's
to
right.
leave that mounted forlorn
And
hope.
I will do that kit bashing on one of the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, we're just trying to get our hands on one. That they're hard to find.
Well, we just need a
So-
spare one, because some
Yep.
people may have doubled up on the
Forlorn hope.
Forlorn Hope, and they don't
or-
have any intent of doing a kit bash or mount.
Right.
I'm reading
Or,
comments.
or they might have a 1E. There might be a 1E version that's floating around out there since they were single models originally.
Right.
Um,
The one I have was the 1E.
right.
But because of the I had already doubled up on all the Union hands, I really have no interest in picking up a Forlorn Hope.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
I
I hear
don't
you.
want to paint that many more Union guys.
Yep. What else?
Didn't we
like
have
to
some
thank-
more shout outs that we wanted to give?
Yeah, we have a couple. There's I would like to call out Gadzooks Games.
That's right.
They have stepped up and they're hosting the Posse Builder now. You may have noticed the Posse Builder had gone down for a few days or a week, and it was because hosting costs were getting very expensive. And Gadzooks stepped up and they're hosting the Posse Builder for all of us to use now. I've bought some stuff from Gadzooks. They're actually not that far from me. They're far enough where I don't want to drive there, so I've had them shipped. But they're close enough. I could drive out to there, if I wanted to. If you don't have anyone carrying WWX in your local market, great place to order from.
Yeah, check them out. They're awesome.
Yeah,
I've got stuff sitting in my cart right now, waiting to
Press the button.
hit
Yeah.
ship. Yeah.
The shipping was quick. They usually have a little bit of a discount on the models. Usually kind of makes up for the shipping costs. But
Yeah, but someone bought all the portals they had.
yeah, some jerk off did that.
They dropped out of my basket.
Man.
Yeah, they dropped out of your basket right into mine.
Snooze, you lose.
I was messing in my cart, making sure which of the few things I was going to need to order from Gadzooks, and all of a sudden it was like out of stock. I was like,
Yeah,
and then I get this message from Tom saying, "Man, I went ahead and bought some portals." I was like, "Well, I did suggest how many he needed."
Yep. I was like, how many do you think I need? He was like, oh, at least 6. I'm like, done.
Man.
But yeah, if I always want to say support your local game shop. At the end of the day, if you want to have a place to play, it's your local game shop.
Yep.
If your local game shop does not support the game, go check out Gadzooks. They're great. God, what else? Oh, also there's another new podcast out, the Aces and Eights Gaming Podcast.
Yeah,
they
that's
put out
right.
their first episode. Was pretty good. Was fun to listen to. So more content is more content. And, go check them out. You'll have you'll have a good time listening to them. I painted my daughter's bedroom while listening to them.
And I do believe that a fellow war host, Ian, he's up in the Michigan area. He's very heavy in running events for their group in that area. He actually started doing a podcast for their little group, but he's ended up, I think, putting it up on their Facebook group for their community members in their local area to listen to. And so he does have it for the public. So if you guys want another one to listen to, you can check out Ian's too.
Let's see if we can get the name of that for next episode or something. We can try to toss that out there. But obviously the more that's out there, the more reach that the game gets. So check them out.
Let's see if I can find it real quick, but Yeah, we'll get it for the next episode. I got to
Yeah.
go through too many menus. But all right. So, yeah, a couple shout outs. And then just to remind everybody, if you guys can find all our content, whether it's, well, we're doing video now. We do have some video on YouTube, some unboxings, and some of our one other painting. That I guess that was our trial by fire type of thing. And then you can find our other content, our podcast on. Our host is Podbean, but we also have it on Google Play, iTunes. I just set up yesterday, I believe it was, with Spotify. So I hope it works for you guys. You guys feel free to let me know if it does or doesn't. And also always feel free to send us an email at blackhoofsaloon@gmail.com. If you guys got any comments or questions, suggestions on some of the stuff that we talked about, our little factions, maybe give us some ideas of things that we can look at when next we gather to start building these forces. So I think we should get out of here, guys, right? That's about an hour of a live stream for us. And then I can take the audio and put it up tomorrow.
That's an hour of live streaming where we actually didn't do anything. So imagine when we actually have things to do. I mean, except for Brian, but he's always doing something.
Yeah, Brian's doing good here. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna focus on Brian's camera. This was another one of our little experiments to see if we could do this. But so this is what Brian's been working on. He's been working on, let's see if I can say it right, Wakasani.
Nope, you got it wrong. Brian, what is it?
What's that?
What's your name?
He's saying I said her name wrong.
Wiccasansi.
Wiccasansi. Well, you know what? I'm too close to Chicago. It's my
Oh, I thought it was sounding more Boston.
Yeah, maybe Boston. I don't know. Everybody asks me if I'm from the South. Sometimes I have a little twang come out of there too. So,
hey, and just so we know that I'm not just sitting around, I built 5 Spica tonight.
Yep, and so most recent feature on our Smoke Wagon Showdown. Do you got a Helena there too? See, look at Brian showing off his mask.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say
he's
Brian
showing off now.
Again.
So, let me see our 2 models, Brian, that we did for the last Smoke Wagon. You just showed.
Well, you can see Helena in the background.
One.
There.
So here is my Helena.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I've been working on Tom's.
Okay.
Here's Tom's Helena.
So this was, and then part of our jet.
I am now working on her jetpack plumes, and then because I'm going to do their plumes very similar.
So
I'm doing them both like at the same time. So as I build up the colors, so the way I do it is I start with the white, right? And then I build up the yellows and then the oranges. And then so the next step will be to bring in the darker colors.
Yeah. So you get more of that burn effect.
Combustion of the fuel that turns black. And then, of course, because I'm not sure I'm going to do her flying off the ground. I may do a different underneath hers. So she might not have the dust. Right. Mm-hmm. So in this one, because I did like a little build up here, you see how it looks like she's causing the dust to ripple away from the blast. Mm-hmm. I won't be doing that on Tom's. I'll probably do some other treatment, like maybe metal grading, right? So I'll do like glow effects on the metal.
Effects, yeah.
Right. So just to make it different, but then there won't be any of the dust. Right. So the buildup will stay the black sooty bubbles because there won't be any dust that be building up off of it.
So that was just a little teaser for all you guys watching and listening of our last 2 Smoke Wagon Showdown.
2020.
2020.
Hey, Brian, if you guys I just wanted to throw this out there.
The last episode, you can hear us talk about those 2. Go ahead.
And if in the background you can see Sergeant Pepper. I mean, who is that? Smee. That's Smee.
So, Brian, I just want to throw this out there too. If you decide that you need to do Bass Reeves as your secondary posse, I've got one for that you could put together and paint and build for you. So I'm willing to do that.
I'm sure he's got every, if not double, lawman
Oh
model.
no, he said his is already. He said his is already well in progress, so I can give you a bare blank new one to paint up.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Oh,
for the challenge. I see.
So I'm there for you.
Man, you guys
So
are just
you can
shipping
go back
stuff
to
left
the
and right.
spotlight. I can show off some of the other crew of the Nautilus.
Here, let me get it on there. Okay.
I don't remember his name, but so if you look at his turban and his sash there, it is mirrored in. Okay, focus. There you go. So I put the same little silvery detail in her fabric as well, so as to unify them.
Yeah, so they match good.
Right. Then we have.
Okay, we get it. You paint.
Little skipper. One more. One more.
One more.
What's
Here
your
comes
best?
Darwin.
Basically, that's Davros. You guys know who Davros is, right?
Damn cat.
Nope.
No? Brian, do you know? You know who Davros is? That's some classic Doctor Who trivia there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with. I was going to mention Doctor Who. I don't know who Davros is, but I know they have someone who is similar to that design.
All right, I'm just showing
So I didn't
off
have
my
the name.
Uber.
I didn't have the name.
I'm
So when you said
showing off
Davros, I
my
would have
Uber
suggested.
nerd right now just came out.
Wow.
All right, well, we're gonna end this stream, you guys. Go ahead, check out the most recent episode that I just put it up yesterday, where we talk about those two gals that Brian was showing off in our showdown. And like I said, feel free to email us with any questions, comments, or actually, you know what? They can comment in this because this is going to be on the Facebook page. We'll probably share this in the Dark Council for people that missed it, and YouTube and stuff like that. But that's going to be about it. This is Eric saying take it easy. And when you're out there, to always ride with the sun at your back and always roll those big crits. Say bye, guys. We're going to end our live stream.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time. Yeehaw!
There it is.
Thanks for stopping by the Blackhoof Saloon, y'all. We hope you enjoyed your visit. Feel free to get a hold of us with comments or questions via the interwebs and shoot us a telegraph at blackhoofsaloon@gmail.com. You can also find us on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Music for the podcast was provided for use by Ross Bugden and can be found at one of his YouTube channels, Ross Bugden Music or Ross Bugden Composer. Until your next visit, ride with the sun at your back and always roll those big crits.